Winter, spring, summer.
There we go.
Winter, spring, summer, fall. Seasons change. We still keep it together.
Hey, Beverly Hills 90210 fans! Are you ready to dive deep, episode by episode, storyline by storyline, character by character, as we break down the making of your favorite zip code with your hosts, Charles Rosen.
Did I say that?
Harry
This
Mullen.
heinous thing about the real person, and we're going, what? We're getting rid of this guy.
Pete Ferrero.
I'm feeling wonderful. Kathleen looks TV crush-worthy.
Like so many special guests. And all your questions. Live on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. Oh, yeah.
Everybody dance now.
Okay, so here we are on the Beverly Hills 90210 show. We've got our guests, or a guest, waiting in the wing. We're still trying to find the other. We're working on that. I wanted to just start off the show. Hey, Larry, we haven't seen you in weeks. How's everything going on the East Coast? You're getting ready to come back?
Yes, I am. We're winging back to the West Coast, the best coast, Saturday. Getting really late Saturday night with any luck. And it'll be fun to see everybody catch up again, in person.
I cannot wait for that.
It's been a good set. Been here since April.
Yep, that's right. And you know what it means when you come back, right? We're going to start writing the story slam. We've only got one done, but we got the other two. And I'm going to put everything in my life on hold until we get that story slam done.
I like it.
And you have quite a lot going on in your life with what's going on in Venice and all that stuff. We talk about that all the time.
Yes, I'm wondering if I should
Fight back Venice.
I guess you can't. Never mind. I was going to say make a Che Guevara reference, but I realized I probably shouldn't because what's going on in Cuba. You got to be wary. But yes, I'm in the public realm. Pete, thank you for all your help.
Of course.
And, I'm basically doing public access for the.
That is essentially what it is.
That is what I'm doing is public access for the CD11, District 11, to get rid of our councilmen. Spending a lot of time on it and actually having fun because all you people who watch this know that, kind of there is politics. And this one I like a lot because it's bipartisan and post-partisan. So let's be those kind of people.
Yes. Now, a few things we want to address at the top of the show. In terms of the Peach Pit After Dark pop-up, we're still looking for a place. We're working on that. We'll let you know. It may be pushing now into September. We'll see. It went from what's going to happen. It might be just moving a little bit ahead into another month now.
Well, our plans also, I think, and this is this is up to the minute show, but our plans got a little boxed by the people who aren't vaccinated.
That is
the
a big
idea
problem.
of inviting. The Peach Pit After Dark was not an outside picnic; it was an indoor place.
Right.
Yeah.
So we can convert it, but we don't really have that luxury right now. And I would not want to put
anybody at
risk, including my friend Larry or my wife Karen. So
I'm not worried about being at risk, Chuck.
I'm not either. But
don't worry about me.
But I'm also not like.
Yeah.
So that's still we're still trying to figure all that out. Now,
I appreciate the thought.
And another thing is, we're doing the zip code show, which is America's zip code. America's zip code. Yes.
I think we need a theme song for that. Maybe if Brian Ormond could do the theme song for America's zip code. We need a little theme song for that show.
50 states, come represent us. Represent your state.
How many states we got? 15.
50 states. We want.
How many have signed up?
Oh, we've got 15 states. We've got 15 states I've already committed.
Yeah, I mean, there's some hard to get on your bingo. On my bingo card, I've got North Dakota, so I'm hoping to get North Dakota. I'm hoping to get Utah. Well, where are the 90210 fans in these states? Or if you have any friends who live in these states that you talk about 90210, we want to have voices from every state.
Now,
come on,
Larry, that's really excited from Arkansas.
I'm excited about.
Oh no, what's her name? The girl that's
Diana Lowe. Yes.
Oh my God,
She's Arkansas. It's going to be great. We've got Malik Cooper from Atlanta, Georgia. We've got some people in Washington, and we've got it's just going to be really fun to see all the different voices and how the show affected them. Of course, we'll have lots of special guests. Maybe like one special guest for every state.
That would be cool.
We
have so many more things to announce.
More stars. It's going to be the anniversary show.
The sky, as they used to say at MGM.
Next thing to announce, is everybody's been asking. They want Shannon Doherty to come on the show. I would like that to happen. Larry, would you like that to happen?
Very much. I so admire her work. Yeah.
Charles, would you like Shannon Doherty to come on the show?
Me too. Absolutely.
So, if you want that to happen, this is the strategy that I'm planning now. We once did this for somebody and we made videos. And so why don't you send me a video to DM it to me or to the show account, peter@beverlyhills90210show.com. And I'm going to take all the videos of all of us requesting. Go deep, go long, get emotional. Talk about what Shannon did for you. Go yell at Chuck. Do whatever you want to do. Say whatever you want to say. And we are going to send that to Shannon so that her rep will see it, and then we will try to make that happen. So that is my best effort on the Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, it's very important to have her voice in this, and it's archival what we're doing too. I mean, just to have her part of the record.
Now, another thing to announce: on my birthday is August 16th. The next day is August 17th, and we got somebody to come on and be a part of that show. People have been wondering who that is going to be, and it is going to be Jenny Garth.
Plots.
So Jenny Garth will be coming back onto the show with us to do a Kelly Taylor episode. So we're really looking forward to that as well. I think we've announced all things at this point, so we are ready for our guest to come in. Yes. Hello.
Hey, so good to be here.
It is awesome to have you here, Jill Fleming.
Thank you. Can you believe it has been 30 years? 30 years!
So insane. It is
How is it possible?
I know.
You obviously were 12 years old then.
That's exactly. I was thinking 14.
That's right. I know I was 18, so that was that.
Yeah, exactly. 21 over here.
Yeah, let's not do the math. It's fine.
Well, we're talking about the first two episodes of
season 4.
Season 4, really important stuff that's happening. And I want to start with Charles and Larry. Well, first of all, we've talked about this before when we did the California University show. But Larry, this was the start of your world, right? Of coming into 902.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, there was my credit. I went, oh wow, that's my first show. It was the opening. It was really smart the way it was the first two episodes because it gave a little bit of lead up to college and had the whole beginning thing with Brenda going off. Because one of the things I remember talking about, Chuck, in the beginning was we have to make it so like they all not going to California University automatically. It's got to seem like more natural. So Brenda's going to go off here, Dylan's not going to go right away. Andrew is going to be going to Yale, but then they're all going to end up at California University because that's where our sets are.
Right.
Anyway, but it was just an exciting, and also the end of summer. Chuck always talks about how important the summer episodes were, so it gave another shot at it because these episodes, if the episodes aired in September, they were filmed in August, which was beach weather. So, and the idea of house sitting in Malibu was such a Beverly Hills thing. I was seeing that, I was going, I love this, just love this. So obvious, kids are like just taking over.
Charles, you were dealing with a lot of other things that were happening at the top of season 4. We're not going to dive into all of it. But one of the things is you had this fight for college for a long time. You wanted them to go to college, and there was probably a lot riding on whether or not college was going to work out. You were leading the charge of this. So what was your take when you got to finally write? Like, oh, my God, we're going to write for college. This is actually happening.
Well, but today we're only going to really be talking about those two transitional.
Yeah.
And Larry put it right there. It was where to give us some air, to give us some breathing space, to get us to
that's where I'm going. Yeah.
Into the summer, onto the sand.
Take the fans by the hand.
Really wonderful. I have such great memories about this particular episode. And I don't know if it was the day that you actually had already started filming. I forget the order and how things were done in that first episode. but I actually took a house in Malibu for the entire summer, and I was right down the road from where we actually filmed it. It was right next to the Malibu colony. It was the house, in fact, 2 doors away from the entrance, owned by some kind of smart guy who liked to I don't know, just get under the skin of the people who lived in the colony, because he constantly rented his house out for filming, and they did not have the kind of guide that they could cut it at that point. I don't know if it was not the city yet. I forget exactly how this house was, but it was the production house. And so people were furious in the neighborhood that we were there for 2 days. And of course, we couldn't be unless the guy licensed to us. But I remember that first day going out, and I was just on the other side. I was on Carbon Beach, and this is just up past Webway and the thing. And we were staying in an old Spanish style house that was the one that they used in the movie Spanglish, if you remember, that with Adam Sandler out at the beach. And well, that was the house we had, and it was the original land grant house. It was the first house built on the beach by the family that had, owned the land in a different era. So, and it was really great to just be able to decompress a little bit, because, we were taking the summer off. We couldn't go traveling with our kids. There was no way to have a life like that. So we just moved our shop from the Fairfax district out to Malibu. And Larry, you remember, you came out.
I loved it. Yeah, we got to work out there. It was, I lived in Santa Monica, so it was a really easy commute at the beach.
We some waves and
very evocative.
The house and,
the interesting thing about these 2 episodes is there's no beach club, right? That's gone. So we're doing something a little bit different. Do you remember where the idea of where the girl from New York came from? And then I can't wait. I'm going to ask you about how you got into all of this. Yeah.
Well, the idea of there were just a few of those actually came more from scenes than character. There'd be a girl that you'd be having this wild party, and in walks someone who expected that they would be there for the 2 weeks, and they were from and so let's make it from New York. Let's make it a show business connection with the parents, which we often did with Steve Sanders' character, and that the fact is that your character was a little older than Steve. There was some, almost, adolescent attraction, or preteen, I should say, early teen attraction between the two. And you come here, and then it allows us to be about the 2 guys, and that rivalry, which really turned dark in the second episode.
I guess so too.
There's a lot of macho competition out there. I was thinking of I don't want to,
like John McEnroe and Jimmy Connors
that was Jeff Melman, the director.
I really sympathized with you and Celeste out there, with 2 guys just getting into this, the game of who's got a bigger set, or whatever you're going to call it. It was just a little nasty. But getting back to the first one, and you showing up you just made it interesting the entire time. And again, like everyone in our show, you come in, everybody, the audience is going to assume you're somebody and something. And of course, your character, we're going to twist you a different way, and you're going to be a deeper person, and it's going to be a little more soulful. And you did a terrific job in making all those twists and turns.
Thank you.
So let's start there. How many credits did you have prior to 90210? You were telling us before we came on.
Well, yes. I had just recently gotten off tour with Prince. So I had been a professional dancer for years. That's really all I was doing. And I got off tour, and I made that transition into acting, and was doing taking a ton of classes. And I remember going in for 90210. And at that time, I was really about just trying to do good auditions, because I'd never gotten a job. I hadn't done any acting.
That's right.
From New York? Were you from New York?
No, I wasn't from New York. I'm in LA. Yeah.
So you were.
I remember going in on the audition, and I was like, I had a really good audition, and I left, and I thought, I might actually get this job. Like this might happen. So it did, and that was my very first acting job.
You challenge your inner Fran Drescher.
Well, I'm curious though. You're not from New York, so
Nope.
how did you? Where did you go to create this?
Well, I mean, that's kind of naturally who I am. I mean, I'm a little edgy. I have that kind of vibe, that kind of personality. You know, being the dark hair. I was actually born in Queens, so I have that. Yeah, I have the East Coast vibe.
You know what I've told people for years? I only look and sound like I'm from New Jersey. I am actually a local LA guy, but Pete and I get along so well.
I'm originally from New Jersey.
Got the Jersey thing. Larry too.
Yeah, I love it. So yeah, it felt natural to kind of have a little edge and to play Jill.
Now, I mean, coming into the show, you obviously probably knew what it was. It was a huge show at the time.
Yeah.
So was that an intimidating experience for you coming to the set?
Yes. It's my first job. It's a huge show. It's these, big celebrity actors. So yeah, I was definitely nervous. But the cast was great. I got along with Jason like that. We just had a really cool connection. He was so giving as an actor, and he just was really great. So yeah, it just started to flow, and I had a great time.
And you come in, let's see here. I have the video. Let's see how you enter.
Oh.
Hey, what the hell are you doing?
Just shut up and put that down.
Is that Mace? What are you doing?
Hey! Don't move it, I mean it.
Sorry.
Well, there you are.
Can you see the dancer influence? I come in like a leap.
I like it. Brian Jeté.
Exactly.
I love that. Do you remember shooting all that? And do you remember how it started for you? What are the scenes that you jump into, and what is that experience kind of like? You're on set. You're with Jason Priestley.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was the first day, that scene. Gosh, this was a long time ago, right? So yeah. I don't remember exactly all the ins and outs. Mm-hmm. I don't remember. I mean, I kind of remember doing it, but I don't remember all the ins and outs of the whole thing. But it was awesome to watch the 2 episodes again. I just watched them last night, and I was like, these are good episodes. Yeah. They really hold up. This show's good.
It blows our mind, believe me.
You get to do a lot with Jennifer Grant, and she sends her best to you.
She's a told me
I had interviewed her about this episode a while ago, and I didn't have a chance to pull the clip, but she had said that the two of you kind of went into this a little bit together because, you were both sort of, I don't want to use the word outsiders, but outsiders.
But we were, yeah.
Yeah. So do you have memories of doing stuff with Jennifer, waiting around or whatever while the show's...
Gosh, to be honest, not a whole lot. I mean, I also felt just a kindredness with her. She was so warm, so easy. We didn't have a lot together in the show. We only had, the tennis scenes and those couple of scenes at the beach house. The tennis was really fun. I really enjoyed doing that aspect of the show.
Yeah, tell me about the tennis. You had not played tennis.
So no, I'd never played tennis. They actually had a tennis double for me. But because of my dance background, I was athletic and I was able to kind of fake it and pick it up. So they didn't use my double. They wound up just using me. And then ironically, now I'm like an avid tennis player. It's my game. So Beverly Hills 90210 set the stage for me. Yeah,
that's true. Do you still play singles? Are you doubles? Or
I play more doubles now, but a little bit of singles.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. Good. What part of the county are you in?
I'm in Laguna Niguel in Orange County.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it's so nice. I love Orange County.
I was wondering if when we were casting at the casting process, did anyone ask you if you ever played tennis?
No.
Yeah.
We really did.
You guys are always so thorough.
We made a mistake on every sport like that.
No, I mean, I was thinking of that. How could we not ask that? How could Diane not bring in someone?
I know. I mean,
just
it wasn't
that.
on your resume as a special
much,
skill.
How much loosey goosey we got in the first season? We had Matthew Perry, who was practically a Canadian champion playing tennis. You know, I mean, it was a requirement, but of course we didn't ask. So you know. And we could always get the double.
I would have just said yes anyway.
Exactly. That's what actors do. Do you ride a horse?
We do everything. We do everything.
I got to cut you guys off real quick. I'm sorry, but we have Wendy is trying to get on here.
Okay.
Oh,
Wendy played Darla, Brenda's old friend in Minnesota and roommate.
Yeah.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Wendy. How are you?
I'm well. How is everybody?
We're doing really good. It's good that I know you're driving, so we'll keep this as brief as possible. What I wanted to ask you is, when we talk about 90210 at this time, and I was kind of talking about this before we came on, there were, you were kind of working with Shannon a bunch, and you were in the Brenda area because they had moved Brenda to Minnesota, though I think that was in Altadena or Pasadena somewhere.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Yes, right near their house, sure.
So what was that experience like for you, Wendy?
Well, here's the thing. It was a hugely successful show. I had auditioned for it so many times, and I was thrilled to get this job. And so it was really exciting. It was the first episode of the season. So they also the cast had begun to, I think there had been some trouble on the set. So it was the first episode back. So everybody was so nice, and so there was nothing scandalous that happened while I was there. Everybody was on literally their best behavior, I feel like. But it was really, it was a big job to get at the time.
It was so gigantic because, were you a fan? I know some of your friends from back in the day. Were you a fan? I know they're 90210 fans. Were you a fan of the show?
Not the biggest fan of the show. I always I wasn't a huge fan of just serialized television. That's just me, and I'm almost still kind of like that. But except for my husband's show that he just finished, which is serialized, which was amazing.
What show is that?
He just did a series called Cruel Summer.
It's amazing. It's an incredible show.
It's good. Thank you.
Yeah. It's actually my favorite show of the summer. Yeah.
Michael, say hi.
Hi, thank you. I heard that. That's very nice of you.
Oh, yeah, no, I heard that from lots of people.
We got to do a whole episode with you, Michael. So
there you go.
That's next. Yeah, because that is an incredible show. Charles, you would love it.
I just have to say, I've been obsessed for years, no longer because I'm retired, but for years about trying to get a summer show. How people behave in summer. So I love that. It's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that to you, Wendy, because you're incredible in this as well. So what was that, I guess? So were you a fan of it? You weren't a fan of it, but you were aware of it, I'm sure.
No. I was definitely aware, and I definitely was a fan. I wasn't the biggest fan, but I was thrilled to get this job. I remember at the time I was really excited. And I knew Tori a little bit, so it was a nice environment. I have to say, I had it was good.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm going to just say it this way, and I'm, because I don't know. Shannon was on watch because, she had come off of a season of being a little turbulent. That's a nice way of saying it.
Yeah.
And here comes Wendy Benson, the person that has to do a majority of the scenes with her. Were you aware of some of that stuff?
Yes.
And how did you approach it?
Well, I think because it was the first episode back, she was very, very well behaved. She was nice. She was professional. I don't remember how I don't know. I don't know how I went in there. I'm sure I was a little,
Well, we were just talking to Robia here, and she's also on the episode. She plays Jill Fleming in another part of the show, and she was talking about being intimidated walking onto the set of 90210 because it's such a huge show, and you just happen to have this extra layer of something that's happening as well. So, was it an intimidating experience? I guess.
Yeah, I'm sure, because I'm sure it was at the time, but I remember. So I think going in, I was probably hesitant and nervous about it, but in the actual, doing of the job, it was actually, they were actually nice. Like, did you feel that way also?
I did. It was interesting because I had heard a bunch of the issues with the girls and the things that were going on with the girls, but it just so happened I was mostly with the guys. I was with, I was with Steve and Luke and Jason, and they were a dream. They were all fun and flirty and just like, it was a blast. So
yeah.
And your scenes were shot out in Malibu, and Wendy's scenes were in a warehouse in Van Nuys.
Sorry, Wendy. Sorry.
I know you really.
Wendy, I thought you really added a lot to it, though. The way you played it right down the, because it was a difficult role. You kind of have to be her friend, but at the same time, show that it's all changing and stuff. And I thought you really brought a lot of humanity to it. And watching it now, years later, I was pretty impressed.
I absolutely do. I absolutely agree. My daughter, who was a Californian, went to the Midwest for college and retreated back after a year, as did her father. So it was I really, in the scene that really got to me, that you play with the terrific ensemble of actresses that were there, Rachel True and excuse me, I'm just going senior here, but all you guys together, and Brenda goes through that cock. If you like me because I'm from Beverly Hills, I don't want to really know you. If you don't like me, I don't want to know you. Or I don't want you in this. That's a live conversation.
It felt real. It felt like a good dilemma.
Yeah, that was a conversation when I got called out in my. At University of Wisconsin for being a Beverly Hills boy. What? My second, year. So it was kind of crazy. But I also want to, sorry about all these interruptions here, that I also wanted to, you said in the course of this conversation that you've had some, that the whole idea that, it was this cast and doing this, and you didn't get cast in the other times you came in to read. But we were waiting to get to college with you because you play this elegance and this maturity that you bring to the role. Was really and it was very archetypal American. Nice. It really felt that way, and not Beverly Hills, not the California girl, but
it served the show perfectly.
Absolutely, and very appreciative, and really holds up.
Perfect casting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's almost a little bit like the alternate universe in Seinfeld, right? When Elaine is with a group of people that are like the people she hangs out with, because it's a whole. There's a Dylan, right? You wrote a different the guy's name that Darla is dating is Dylan. That was a great little thing, Chuck. Do you remember that? Yeah,
I do. But I did not remember that I wrote the episode. That was I had a Larry on this one. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
Wendy, when did you find yourself? I'm curious for both of you. After you shot this episode or these two episodes, did you guys get recognized as for being on 90210? I'm especially curious for you, Wendy, if that happened.
Yes, and even to this day, people will be like, "Oh my God, you were on 90210." Like, it's funny. Like, every once in a while, like, I will have people just out of the blue will just say it. Like, and I'll be like, "How in the world? I just turned 50. How do you recognize me?" But yes, it's funny. Like, yes, it's amazing. And I feel like because my daughter's 17, and I feel like 2 years ago, so when she was about 15, her friends started watching the original, and they would be like, "Oh my God, your mom is on 90210." So yes, it kind of then hit second generation.
It's amazing. It's really good.
If you're brave enough, tell your kids about our podcast.
I will.
They can mind what Mom did and what was going on in the 90s.
Did Robia get Robia? Did you get recognized after?
Yeah, I did a little bit, and then also, longer than I would have thought. There are times that aren't too long ago where every so often someone will say, like, they'll just call me Jill, and so that is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And there are some diehard 90210 fans. I mean, even when I just, you guys posted this and I just popped it on my Instagram, and I mean, I got a lot of feedback, like, "Oh my gosh, I love those episodes. I love that character."
Hey, if they're from, if any of them are from like South Dakota, Utah, Wyoming, any
Mississippi,
states that
we need
America for our American zip code. We need one fan from every state.
Working on that. Thank you.
So we need
and Iowa. Find us in Iowa. That's
we need a Hawkeye. Where's the Hawkeyes? Where are the Jayhawks?
I just have to say, we were talking with Robia about her work on Buffy, and Wendy, I can't let this conversation go by without asking you about what it was like working on one of my favorite TV shows of all time. What was it like being on Mad Men?
Oh, again, that was season premiere. Those first 2 episodes.
Ooh, those were good.
So, again, I feel like I've been very lucky walking into, these shows that, I mean, listen, the cast, including John Hamm, I felt, in my opinion, were scared of Matthew Weiner. So there was such an element of Matthew would walk on the set and everybody would just kind of get a little frozen. So it was a really nice working experience. Everybody was unbelievably polite except for the hairdresser. I really didn't like him. He cut my hair dry to my shoulders, and I was like, are you kidding me? He literally pulled it out with, I mean, you men might not find this interesting, but Robbie, literally, if I were to take your hair right now and just put a pair of scissors and cut it to your shoulders, just in one clump, that was my haircut. And I was like, oh my God, I cannot believe you just did that. I cannot believe you just did. Sorry, we're trying to park now.
You're good to go. Yeah,
anyway, so I doubt you're interested in my hair.
No, I think that's fun. It's very fascinating.
But it was I had a bit of a panic. Anyway, but it was again, it was a really fun day on Mad Men, I have to say. But everybody seemed very scared of the boss. I was like, really? You guys are on the world's biggest hit show. John Hamm, you are a star, and there was just an element of oh my God, he's the boss, and they were very aware of his presence on the set.
Yeah, totally. And when you look back on the 90210 stuff, Wendy, I'm going to let you get out of here. Do you have fond memories of all of it? And do you think the episodes still hold up? You just mentioned that you watched it, or people recognize you all these years later. What are your thoughts on that?
I'd have to go back and watch it again. Yeah, I think that fish out of water story always works, right? It's just one of the quintessential storyline. So yeah, I do think it holds up. Listen, a funny, fun fact is that on the set, not in Malibu, in Van Nuys at the lot, there were these stray cat that had all these kittens, and we all took them. I took one, Tori took one. I don't know if another cast member took them, and these cats gave us all ringworm.
Oh
God.
Yes.
We should have had a wrangler. I don't know why we didn't have a cat wrangler.
Oh my God.
Oh well, medic.
I know that was one of my fun fact of behind the scenes.
90210.
Yes.
The hazards.
Well, Wendy, I want to thank you for joining us. I know you're traveling and whatnot. I'm all about gratitude these days, and I want to thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. This is fun.
I also want to say, the fans we're dying to have you here. So thank you for the time to come on. And you really brought something very special to the role. And, I don't know if somebody else came into that, it definitely probably helped cool things down that you were so great and so wonderful on set.
Oh, you're so nice. Thank you. I don't know if I had anything to do with it, but I feel like it was, I was timing was very lucky for me with all of that.
And best to Michael. And will there be a cruel summer 2? Do you know about that?
There is definitely a Cruel Summer 2. They don't know what it is going to be. Like that they have not picked up any casts options yet.
They're also wonderful. I
really, know it was really a special cast.
Totally.
And such a good show. So we hope. Every actor hopes for a second season. So
we've got a second season. We're just waiting to find out who's in it.
Officially now. Here we have.
We should have brought Darla and Jill back. I'm amazed we never brought these characters back.
I know. I talked to you about that actually.
Is it too late? Is it too late?
It's a little late.
It's
in
not.
The story slam. We can bring them back.
We can do it. We can do it as adults.
Yes, exactly. Because they both really brought a lot. I mean, really, it's very, very good stuff.
Sex in the City's coming back. 90210 can come back.
Well, the interesting thing just about
I'm just going to say goodbye to Wendy.
Bye, Wendy.
Bye, Wendy.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Much appreciate it. All right, go ahead.
But just the last thing on the Minnesota part, just the part about Brenda getting told it's October, it's 40 degrees and it's raining. And, and I remember like being told that, having that happen and call my parents kind of glum on a Sunday and they're out on the golf course. It's 85 degrees. I mean, where am I?
Okay, so I have to ask you guys because I definitely thought Jill was set up to come back. Jason and I had awesome chemistry, which, by the way, we added a lot more kissing in that was even written in.
I rate the kisses. I rate the kisses.
There's a few kisses, but we found places to just like have a couple extra kisses.
But I thought the kisses were really good in character, though. I thought you really kept your kisses in character. You never went all in with them.
Were there any kisses out of character? Do you want to talk about that? Were there any kisses out of character?
Oh, no. No, because he actually had a girlfriend and I had a boyfriend at the time. So it was like free. Sense. It was like free on set kisses.
Right. Was your boyfriend on the set?
No.
Right.
No. All right, so I'm kind of curious because what happened is I really thought that Jill was going to come back, but then all of a sudden that teacher storyline, I cannot think of her name. She's very good.
Lucinda. Dina Meyer. Yeah, Dina Meyer.
Like, so what happened? Why didn't you bring Jill back?
Chuck, it would have been your character payment.
Were you guys even thinking about it or not?
Character payment was on the line.
Chuck had the character payment.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I just was so cavalier back then. I didn't think of the important things, Larry. I have to be truthful. Not, and the reason being is that we were these were the transitional shows, and had to move forward, and it had to be stories based around what was going on in the college, and so the idea of being a TA to a professor and inadvertently betting his wife, forgetting anything else you would have about the character and who she became and how she was played, was more self-contained as a narrative.
Yeah, and it affected other characters too.
I'll tell you the interesting thing, and it also goes back to the Minnesota, because very quickly when we have wonderful guest stars like yourself come on, the truth is we were writing and producing, so we were not the set guys very often, so that we didn't have time to get to know our guest cast or things like that. So I'm looking up everybody's credits. Well, who was this? Who was this? And the blonde, the third one was Rachel True and Wendy, and the third one, she had come off of being a player in Parker Lewis Can't Lose. So I know exactly how her odyssey worked because she'd been there. She was approved by Fox. She had this look, get right in there, go to wardrobe. You're available to us now, but you'll work with Fox, which at the time meant that your residual was lower. than CBS. Then we had actors who didn't want to come over to Fox that liked CBS, NBC, and ABC because it was a better payday. If there was a conflict, we had at least two leave us in the 11th hour because something else had come up. But the fourth network.
So was that an acceptable answer?
I understand.
We kind of blew it. It could have worked. You could have worked.
But my point being, is that had you had an agent at that time, had you been in that part of your career saying, "Are you kidding? It was incredible chemistry. What are you doing up there?" Exactly correct. You didn't have that kind of pound that the people who are running those, or the people who are casting them, or the casting people for the company, or in my case, Mr. Spelling himself would be, lobbied. But
what did happen is that Mr. Spelling had me come in on another show.
I bet he did
as a regular. And but I wasn't quite right for that character. But then he just offered me a recurring, so I had like a direct offer.
What show was that?
That was Rescue 99 or Rescue 77, something like that. It was so long ago. It only went for one season. It was firefighters. So I went in for the lead. They were like, she looks too skinny to like lift people out of a burning building. Like, so they, they were like, she's too small. So they hired like a big, like 6'2", actress. But I played the love interest to the lead, to the good looking fire guy. So I was the nurse in the hospital. But so, things segue. People that watch the show, they don't understand these kind of things that you're talking about, that.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it up. So that really is the reason why. And also, now I'm learning doing these podcasts that Aaron would hog all the really interesting actors for himself. He wouldn't let me use them.
And he would shoot them down. He would shoot them down and say, "Yeah, how about bring them?" He shoot them down.
I will.
Yeah. He would keep things for himself. He'd say, "Now that girl does not. I don't like the curly hair," and then he'd something else. No, he cast her in something else in another show. He'd deny her. He'd deny our show.
I remember walking into his office though with that big like 70s rug, that whole carpet
and the pinball machine and
huge couch and that big white fluffy rug.
The couch held about 12, 15 people.
Exactly, and it was loaded with people. It was intense, man.
And if you needed a cigarette, they had it right there
in the bowl.
Too much.
Or a hot dog with peanut butter and jelly.
I was a smoker then too. I was a smoker at that time.
We were too.
Well, look at you here. I mean, these are some awesome things that you got to do, and you're looking incredible. By the way, everybody here in the chat is writing how incredible you look today, and I would share those, but I would have to find all the comments. But they're saying,
"Thank you, guys. I appreciate that.
Beautiful things about you."
There's one other thing though we got to go back to, because look at that shot that you just put. That those adoring eyes.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah.
So I got to ask you the question.
First acting job.
You're dancing. How many? I mean, that was my wife and I, Karen, who popped in for a second there. Both of us had this incredible experience around. A long time after he was already popular, near the end of his career, really, where we got to see Prince perform at the Staples. And we're totally blown away that you're this old and you're going to a concert. It's one of the best concerts you've ever seen.
Mesmerizing, day in, day out.
I mean, we could have spent a lot of time. I can't get past that so much that you're looking at that adoring eyes. Wasn't that the whole vibe of the whole music scene that you were at for those you being with Trump and being in touch with yourself and your flirtatious self and your performance self and all.
Well, yeah, I think that is a part of it, being kind of sassy and edgy and being a dancer, doing a lot of music videos, all of that kind of brings that that part of you out. But yeah, being with Prince was just an extraordinary experience. I mean, he was looking for dancers for one music video, and it wound up turning into all the music videos and the album cover and touring with him. For those who might not know, he had an album in the 90s called Diamonds and Pearls. Yes. And he wound up, hiring two girls, Diamond and Pearl, and I was the Pearl half of that duo. And so we basically were like his muses and, on either side of him and all the shows. And it was just, we traveled around the world. I danced on stage in front of 60,000 people at a time. And I got to tell you, every single night every night he would just blow you away. He was so electric, so tremendous. It was.
Did you do the Super Bowl? Were you on the Super Bowl show?
No, that was after. That was later than me.
Yes,
and he had another set of girls at that point, but that wasn't me. Yeah.
I have to say, because Larry brings it up, that one of my really close friends ended up being the president of the NFL Network. Someone I met at the University of Wisconsin, and he, when they had the wardrobe malfunction on the MTV with Janet Jackson, my friend got to take it over and did it for 12 years.
Amazing.
So I asked him, which was the best experience, and no hesitation, Prince.
His halftime show was one of the best shows also of all time. And it starts raining during Purple Rain. I mean,
amazing.
Come on.
Exactly.
But let me tell you this that I know you'll appreciate, Robia.
Yeah.
So Steve, being the president of the network, and his team go to meet Prince before the week before the concert, whenever it's going to be, and they go to his house. He in Truesdale or Truesdale adjacent.
Yeah.
And he comes in, and Prince is very gracious, and they're there to have dinner at his house. And because that's how Prince wanted to do it, my friend Steve was told. And Prince says, would you like to hear our set for the show? And he says, sure. And Steve and his executive friends are led down a stairway to the basement where the entire orchestra and the entire band is there, and they do the halftime show. So that was the most thrilling thing.
I can't even say I'm surprised, because that's so him. That's so him. Yeah. I mean, we would just be hanging out at his house, and the cook would be making dinner, and he would just sit down at the piano and just off the top of his head, just create this unbelievable masterpiece, jaw dropping, 24/7. So that was incredible. And it was quite interesting, to come from that and then to step into, 90210. That was my transition into acting. It's pretty cool.
And comparatively, I know it's a totally different thing because Prince is a megastar, but Luke and Jason were heartthrob icons in a different realm. I'm not trying to compare them to Prince by any means, but they to some people, that might be a comparison. So you do seem to be surrounded by some of these huge iconic, people. And on the point of Luke Perry, did you get to work with him at all? Somebody asked here, Michelle on Patreon wanted to know about, working with Luke Perry, and of course we've lost Luke. And what were your experiences?
I know. He was. I had a very short time with Luke. It was just that couple of scenes where he comes into the house, the guys see each other, and so there was that one group scene, I think. So I think it was just 1 day or 2 days that we were around each other. But again, really cool. Just easy. I loved his vibe. I wish I had more time to spend with him. Yeah.
Was Luke? What was this one question, Chuck? Was Luke finishing up a movie? That's why he's not in the first episodes, unless till the last scene. Was he finishing up something at that point?
No, he was in there not to the last. He came to the party, and then he had something. He was at the Peach. He had a plot.
He had a no. In the first episode, he only shows up at the end.
He and Jenny,
they had that whole thing with the French girl and everything, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he had a lot of stuff going on. Yes.
Was it a French girl?
Yeah, Brigitte. Yeah, we were trying to find her because I have to say she was gorgeous too. I was pretty crazy.
I was rewatching it last night, and my daughter looked when that scene came up. She was like, "Mom, is that you?" And I said, "No, I'm this one. I'm this one."
I know. Yeah.
The French
That's why it was sometimes hard to believe that here's this high school boy, rich boy, sexually experienced boy in Europe, just fought with his girlfriend. She leaves, and he says, I didn't sleep with her. It's like, okay, I understand for the narrative where that works, but really?
Yeah.
I was watching the episode with my wife last night, and she said that the French girl and Dylan were definitely making fun of Kelly in French, and
yes.
and Dylan said no, that we're not. It just gets lost in translation. So Dylan was a little bit rough in this in this episode.
Yeah.
You know, you get rejected from Berkeley. It's hard to rebound.
Check Cal graduate. Yeah, he was a little out of the box. You know, one other thing I wanted to say, this has nothing to do with Robia, but it's just, I wanted Chuck to remember this. Because I always feel when you shoot a beach scene, in our mind, the idea of living in Malibu, you're in your own beach. You don't have like all these extras like swarming all over the place, but the ADs always stock the damn shot up with extras. Like, who wants them there? Get rid of the extras. I never understand that.
Well, somebody asked, you wanted to know about shooting down at the beach and what was that like? And then also, what did you think of your costumes? That was Joanna.
Oh, shooting down at the beach. Well, you know, being a California girl, I mean, who doesn't want to be in Malibu? So,
right.
You know, I think I was kind of blessed. I come on to 90210 and I'm not on some soundstage. I get to I get to drive to Malibu every day and be out by the beach. So I loved that. Yeah, the swimsuits, I mean, you know, I don't love being in a bathing suit. I don't think anyone wants to like necessarily be in a bathing suit, but you know, being a dancer, you get pretty comfortable with your body and that's just kind of part of it. So my wardrobe, I mean, you can definitely see that the show is dated, I think, because of the wardrobe. I think a lot holds up, but when you see the wardrobe, you go, wow, there's some 90s action going on right there. That's some 90s stuff. So.
I mean, when I look at Shannon, though, in some of her 90s outfits, I'm like, that shit works today. You know what I mean?
It's back. It's back.
Like,
And that's what's so funny. 80s came back around, shoulder pads, 90s came back around. So,
you know, looking at some of the Shannon
grungy.
stuff. Like,
this is grungy.
Oh,
yeah,
that's totally good. Here. I know.
Yeah, she always kind of like brought it.
Stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
This was Molly Campbell's first shows too. I'm pretty correct. I'm pretty sure of that because Diane Kennedy.
I wonder. We should ask Molly. Did she get ever feedback? Mr. Spelling, I don't think liked grunge at all. He didn't like rap, and he didn't like
and I remember he didn't want us to wear sunglasses.
Oh yeah.
Oh, this is what I remember. It was interesting. You know, so this is my first time acting, but I'm always like, my whole thing is sort of like authentic. Like I like to be, you know, as real as I can be. So in the scene where Jason sleeps over, but we just sleep.
Right.
You know, I didn't have really any makeup on. And because I wanted to be like, I'm waking up in the morning. And I did think, you know, 90210 was a little much sometimes. The girls woke up in the morning and they were full on, you know?
Right.
But what I found out was that Mr. Spelling wanted that. Like he didn't like natural. You know, he wanted the full makeup. So
heightened reality.
He wanted heightened reality. So this was, you know, my first foray in. I didn't really realize like, oh, I could wake up in the morning with lip gloss and like false lashes and look a little extra beautiful. But I went like nitty gritty. I went, you know, New York style. I went real, baby.
Well, on that
note,
note,
and you wonder why there wasn't the call.
And that's why I didn't get called back.
Yeah. Where was the makeup?
You did. You were on the. You were rescuing 77 people.
I was.
Our friend Chris, with his fun questions, wants to know for Jill Fleming, did they give real pepper spray to use on Brandon?
Yes, and after a few takes, he was crying. So, no, of course not. None of it's real. None of what you saw, smoke and mirrors. None of it's real. And how much better is a New York bagel?
Yeah, but to tap into Jill Fleming here and not you, how would Jill Fleming answer that question?
If what? The bagel?
About the bagel, yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, I can answer that. I think a New York bagel is totally better, just like New York pizza is better because the water's different. That's what people need to understand, right? Thank you, Larry.
There you go.
The water's different. So the breads, you just cannot get it. It's just different.
I agree with you. It's
well
just
done.
different. Yeah.
Thank you.
Though I would like to shout out this great place in Pasadena, U Street Pizza, that's doing New York style pizza in LA. It's pretty fun.
A lot of places say they have New York style pizza in LA, but is it really?
Hey Pete, one thing, Chuck, one thing we also did in these episodes, I forgot. This is the introduction of the beach house.
That's right,
which was really pretty cool. The way it all kind of came together, and our friend Catherine Cannon playing Felice Martin is always so great. But I did think of a different scene we could have done. You know, when Brian's hiding in the bathroom and goes into the shower. We could have been inside the shower, and they can't stop Felice from getting in the bathroom.
Oh, I would have loved it.
We just hear Felice peeing basically from Brian's point of view. It would have been. We would have got away with it. It would have been
hilarious.
Powerful.
You know, it's just I brought Larry on to do live humor. I've said this many times on this show. And clearly you let me down.
I just thought of it. I mean, it just occurred to me.
Are we going to talk any Buffy? I know some people.
Yeah,
there we go.
Mary wants to know about I don't know if you realize that you're part of the Great 90210 Buffy bunch of crossovers, and what was it like working on Buffy?
Oh, well, what were the crossovers? Give me a few of those.
Mary, if you're around,
Mary, pop those into the chat. I need to know what
Emma Caulfield. Emma
Caulfield. Yes. Right. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, I think also our dear who played the single white female, Tara. She also was in Buffy.
You called her a stalker.
I know. I'm so sorry. She was not a stalker. Wait a second. Paige Moss was also.
All right, I have to look.
Also, one that's not been. David Semmel directed an episode of.
Yeah, Mary just wrote so many.
So many. Okay, well, yeah, Buffy was. Buffy, when I went to audition for Buffy, it had not been on the air yet. So I came in at the end of season 1, the last episode of season 1. So it hadn't been on the air. I didn't know what to expect. But I saw the script, and the script was incredible. And my character was awesome. It was so well written. And I remember, so my scenes were with Giles, who's the older, Anthony Stewart Head, incredible English gentleman. So when I read the script and I see Giles, I know I'm a school teacher, but I don't know Giles is another teacher. I think he's one of my students. So when I'm reading the script and doing it, I'm speaking sort of in a derogatory manner and in an authoritative manner to Giles, thinking he's a kid. And then I go into the room and I'm reading with Anthony Head, and I'm thinking like this doesn't compute. But I just kept the same take on it. I just kind of, I just did the same exact vibe, and they loved that. They loved that I was like, treating him a little bit like, a kid, like dirt, So that was supposed to be just one episode. Mm-hmm. And they saw the chemistry, guys. They saw the chemistry.
That's why
at this point in my career, I was more seasoned, and I guess I had some kind of pull because my one episode turned into 3 seasons. Like you should have done on 90210.
Nicely done.
That's why you were 2 and we were 4.
Our friend Mary B says, Giles broke my heart in that last scene with you. How did you?
Yeah, my death scene. Is that what she means? My passion. Passion was an incredible episode. Yeah, heart-wrenching scenes.
We even give you a little bit of the other shows here on this podcast as well. Hey, what about working with Ian? You have a lot of stuff with him in this too, right?
Yep. I mean, I have only good things to say about all the guys. They were fun and funny and flirty. It was everything you'd want as a gal. Yeah.
And very cool stuff. I don't know that we have any more things. Is there anything else in the episode that we're missing that we should be talking about that happened here? We talked about the French girl. Oh, I mean, I thought the what happens with Jill Fleming is she had this really, heavy thing that happened to her in New York. And so it's a fun character for sure, but there's something really deep inside what had happened to her.
Well, you get a really good monologue in there, basically. I mean, and you really bring a lot of dignity to it, and it packs a punch.
Thank you. I was a little scared of that monologue because, it was rich and it was deep. Yeah. And, this was my first time really on set and acting like that. And I do remember, like, you just don't realize when you're really on camera, when you're watching TV, it looks one way, but when you're doing it, you just don't realize how many distractions and things happen. I remember that scene, and I remember being so like, oh, I want to connect with those emotions in the scene. And we go to shoot it, and I think the wine glass falls over, and we have to stop. And then I would start going again, and then a plane comes overhead, like right at the right moment, like the transition moment. Then we have to stop for the plane, and so all these things kept happening. It was like, ugh. But I remember, I was like just working to get that emotion, and on one take, I'm looking down and it's totally on me. It's a one shot on me. Jason is just off camera, just supporting me. And I look up at him and he has complete tears in his eyes because he was like completely there for me to get me in that emotional. I know, it was pretty cool. I have to say, pretty cool. And so I remember that. I've never have forgotten that, like how giving he was in that moment to help me, to get to that place. So yeah.
That's great to
Well,
hear.
it really was some brutal language. It really was a brutal thing that could happen to a young woman in New York City at that time, anytime, anywhere, unfortunately. But certainly in that, not as expected in the 90s, even just downtown. But downtown was transitioning, and it's very. I can understand, especially the way you delivered it.
Well, thank you.
Jeff Melman, the director, we should mention.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Larry.
I was going to say we should mention Jeff Melman, the director, because he obviously, worked with you on that, and he's did a number of 90210s.
I just remember wanting to do that, like a little understated. I didn't want to be just. I just wanted it to be subtle. Understated and subtle, but to still feel emotional. And I have to say, what's one of the things, you guys probably talk about this all the time and hear it all the time, but 90210 was cutting edge in terms of bringing issues on television. Like 90210 brought.
We're very proud of that.
It really is incredible. Like you guys pioneered that. Things that were not talked about in television. So many issues. I mean, we could just name issue after issue after issue. So
Jeff's middle name is Issue.
Currently working on an issue right now. Right? Yeah.
But really also with talking about things that people weren't talking about on television. It's
so
very
true.
powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And also largely especially pertaining to sexuality issues from a female point of view. So that was not also done that often.
Yeah, I did have the impression the drinking thing was, I'm going like, oh, they were drinking so much and they're 18 years old. I'm going like, this isn't playing so well for me.
Well, I wanted to ask about that because, Charles, you had done an episode years ago about Brandon crashing the car and the whole thing. And now here we are into season 4 and they are drinking, they're partying. Was it purposeful to say, okay, the kids are in college now. We're not going there,
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
What's the difference between that and the cake house?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
we opened it up.
So
we were living fast.
So you had to go a little farther with all hedonism. You're moving to college where we were. So yes, there would be now him drinking. I wondered about that too, but it was only I can tell you why it was happening the way it was. It was staged the way it was, whether it was written that way or not. Is because, Jason would have wanted Brandon to be able to be someone who could have a drink.
Right.
Right.
I'm going to hold this
Not
drink.
be a Boy
Whether
Scout
it was
all the
written,
time.
whether it's intended, it's a little bit of minutia here. But I do feel that, okay, so why would he be having a drink right then? Well, because he knows he's an addict at that point. He's had it with gambling and he's had it with alcohol.
And we see him. The whole tennis thing is a little gambling too.
Yeah, but they were doing the gambling thing.
Yeah.
But the thing was, he knew he wasn't driving anywhere, so maybe that's a little easier than to.
Right.
I'm trying to get into his head. How did I let that happen?
No, that's fair.
That's A, but B is likely nobody knew.
That
went on in Malibu. Now I was there. I didn't, and I was saying that we didn't really, our paths didn't cross, but I actually caught waves right in front of the house.
Nice.
And got out there and was talking with Jason and Luke, and it was one of my favorite days of all filming. Was that first day. Brian was. Actually, Luke was there. It was Jason and Ian and Brian, and we were just there, and and I was, and me being in my 40s and being able to catch pretty well played well with the guys.
Yeah, nicely done.
Robia, are you still acting today? Are you working on it?
It's interesting. I'd actually retired about 15 some years ago. And now I do life coaching and speaking, and I'm an author. I have a book called Counterfeit Comforts. It's actually what you're talking about right now, about, those things we turn to for comfort, like alcohol and cigarettes and food, especially. I do that for women, turn to those comforts and they become addictions. So I help people really kind of heal from those areas with a spiritual bent. I had left acting, really honestly had no intention of ever going back. I was pretty much done. But it kind of called me back. And just a couple years ago, I wound up being introduced to a couple directors, and they shared their script with me and invited me to be part of their movie. It's called Unplanned. So that was in theaters a couple years ago. I did that. And then I just wrapped another film called Pulled from Darkness, which will be out at the end of the year. And it all just kind of came back in the last 2 years. So I'm back. I'm back in it.
Amazing.
I did a TV show called Vindication, which just got picked up by a company called PureFlix, which is like the more conservative, family-friendly version of Netflix.
Cool. Mm-hmm.
So it's on PureFlix. So it's Vindication. It's a cool show, kind of like a cop drama.
Nice.
And then I just got offered another film just this week that I'm going to shoot at the end of the year.
I'm not surprised. Well, I feel like singing "Welcome Back, Kotter" to you, but I don't want to.
That's fabulous. I'm so glad to hear it.
Well,
no, you're
really
so very
fun.
talented, and it's good.
Well, thank you. I mean, that area has been dormant for so long, you know.
Exactly.
So it's just really cool that like those gifts that were in there that I was using in another way, you know, now they're kind of coming back to the surface in this arena. So it's just, I'm very excited about it to be back. I can't believe it, honestly, but it's been pretty cool.
Zara, our friend, says we love you, Robia. So,
oh, thank you, my dear. Thank you.
How can people find out about you and what you're up to? And that's coming up here in the chat.
Awesome. You can find me on my website, which is robiascott.com. I'm no longer Lamort, as a lot of you know me as Lamort. That was my maiden name, but I'm married with a baby, got a 10-year-old. So robiascott.com. And then also you can find me on Facebook, Robia Scott, Instagram, Robia Scott.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, again, I'm all about gratitude. I just want to say you brought so much to this character, and the fans we're so excited to have you here. And as a New Yorker or a New Jerseyer, I don't know if that's a thing, but just really authenticity was what it was all about. And it seems like you're doing some really amazing things now with some more purpose. So thank you so much for
Thank you, Pete. Thank you. Thank you, guys. What an honor to see you again after all these years. I mean, that's just crazy.
Good luck in all things.
All right.
All right. Thanks so much. Again, I want to just quickly say to send me that video about Shannon. We're going to say goodbye to Robia. And so just if you want Shannon on the show, we're going to put a little video together. We're going to send it off to her people. And so email me your clip or DM me your clip and I'll add it to it. Now, here's the schedule. We just did The Girl from New York, which was amazing. Yeah. Next week we're doing Love Hurts with our buddy David Bowe, Garrett Slan, and we've got Lenny.
Oh, Tracy Frame. Oh, cool. Lenny Sinitsky. Okay.
Yeah. And then Larry and I are going to be doing Ginger.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yes. Ginger. Yes.
Elise Donovan. And then, of course, on August 17th, Kelly Timber with Jenny Garth. So we've got
That's a Tuesday also, isn't it?
It is a Tuesday that week, yes, because of a conflict on a Wednesday. But yes. All right. Thank you so much, guys. This has been a fun one. We're heading off.
See you on the other side with any luck.
And we will see you all next week.
Bye-bye.